Now is our last reader, Sophie Collins. Sophie Collins is currently living in Ireland, and she's the founder of Tender, which is an online publication that promotes female writers and poets. She has had translations and poems in Poetry London and Oxford Poetry, and her writing has been featured in the Poetry Review, Dazed and Confused also, and she's currently carrying out research on poetry and translation at Queen's University, Belfast. Please welcome Sophie Collins.
Bunny, where did the dust come from, and how much of it do you have? When and where did you first notice the dust? Why didn't you act sooner? Why don't you show me a sample? Why don't you have a sample? Why don't you take some responsibility for yourself, the dust? Personally, I've never suffered from or even seen the dust. No one I know has reported issues. These are facts. The difference between us is the difference between facts and lies. You tell lies. Not only do you lie about the dust, but you lie about or altogether conceal your reasons for having fabricated such a complaint. Any reason I can conceive of that might have prompted you to fabricate such a complaint is unrelated, and in any case, is of your own doing. Have you considered the impact of your complaint on the ones you love? I recommend you write out your issues with the dust in a draft email and then delete it. You need to forget about the dust. There's simply no alternative for you. Do you want to lose your children? I met them earlier in the foyer, if you remember, and they didn't cough once. Don't blame the dust for your poor parenting. The dust is not an autonomous entity. The dust appears, if anything, to be synonymous with your own sense of guilt. And if that's true, then all is dust. These words, Bunny. This next poem, I guess, is kind of a collage poem made up of popular phrases as suggested by an online phrase book. 8 phrases. My drink is getting lonely. Would you like to join me with yours? What's your name? How long does the journey take? My father is a policeman. I do not have a brother. My birthday is January 8th. Your breath smells like peaches. Can you give me something for the pain? This next poem is dedicated to my partner, and it's about, I guess, male noise pollution. It's a daily struggle for both of us. An unusual day. If he wasn't sniffling, he was sneezing. If he wasn't sneezing, he was coughing. If he wasn't coughing, he was clearing his throat. If he wasn't clearing his throat, he was sighing. If he wasn't sighing, he was otherwise breathing loudly. If he wasn't breathing loudly, he was speaking at her. If he wasn't sniffling, sneezing, coughing, clearing his throat, sighing, otherwise breathing loudly, or speaking at her, he was most likely not in the house. If he was not in the house, it was an unusual day. It's another prose poem, and I guess it's about my inexhaustible social grace. Better on less. I haven't seen this man in a long time. He is telling me that he has recently had a second baby. That's great, I say. 2 is always better than 1, I say, unless it's tumours. A.S. And what was it Anna Sophia couldn't say? That all had started with Arlo, when she had started up with Arlo, who had been nice enough, but whose presence had turned her into herself. And so first the faces, then mainly the eyes, but in the end, all of it really. And what was it she couldn't say she was after? To smash to pieces the earthenware jug on the stovetop, the sound of a veil tearing. Both were nice ideas, but she just couldn't stick with them. She walked around a bit and started to blurt things out. She told old men just how much they smelled, that their breath smelled and more, and this got her into some real trouble. A white old man, pale lizard face, small teeth, paper neck, hat the color of yellow dog shit. He came at her in an alleyway with a red tie just as bad, and quick as she needed to be, AS had pulled out a razor knife, could have been Arlo's, could have been anyone's, and flicked it at his papery neck. She would tell them she had been where she had always intended to be that day in September 2013, the Mushrooms and Health Summit, Washington, D.C. And if it didn't get her off, it didn't matter. Powerful, she can cook. My wand. My hand is a wand, and the spell I wish to cast on you today is a banishment charm. I watch my hand fly towards the door chain and secure it. I move my wand towards my face. I blow on it and kiss it 3 times to restore its power. And final poem is another prose poem, Zizio. Hans Ulrich Obrist throws bread to the swans in the Royal Park of Kensington Gardens in central London. It's early morning. The bread isn't stale. The swans are not white, they are grey-brown. One of the swans is sitting a good distance away from the main body of the group. It's darker or dirtier than the rest and shows no interest in the bread. Its eyes are closed and its neck is bent at an angle that allows it to rest its head on its back. Hans Ulrich Obrist approaches the swan. As he gets close, the swan opens its eyes and lifts its head. Its neck sways and it lets out a rasp from its grey beak. Hans Ulrich Obrist takes a slice of bread from the bag and tears out a small piece with no crusts, tossing it directly in front of the swan. The swan ignores the bread, but the rest of the group swarms over, trampling the crustless piece and nipping at the bag in Hans Ulrich Obrist's hands. The swan looks resigned. It tries to reposition its head on its back, but misses and lays it on the tarmac instead. It closes its eyes. Hans Ulrich Obrist turns and leaves the pond area. That evening, he is unable to sleep, and the following morning wakes uncharacteristically late at 10:47 a.m. to a series of emails and 1 missed call from the team at the gallery. He postpones responding and gets dressed. He walks to the park and alerts the warden to the sick swan. He feels no sense of immediate relief, but finds that he is once again able to focus on other things. When he visits the pond area again 2 days later, the sick swan is gone, and he senses that it has been euthanized. The crustless piece of bread is still partially visible, specked with dirt and embedded in the tarmac. It doesn't at all resemble the unmistakable image of Mary Immaculate, Mother of Jesus. A light snow does not begin to fall. Thank you.